fun patch running at the moment. This is part of experimenting in preparation for a gallery opening that I've been asked to do the music for, which is pretty exciting. This is going to be a 100 Years Gallery in Hoxton on the 18th of January, so come along to that. It's going to be a pretty awesome photography exhibition put on by London Alternative Photography Collective, and I've been tasked with putting on a bit of music for the opening night, and slightly bricking myself because I've spent most of the time making instruments and not so much actually making music with them, and I really don't want to let my friend down, so need to make it good. And so today is like the start of kind of experimenting, trying to figure out exactly the best way to do this. And this is very far from where I want to be, but it's given me enough confidence now that I think I can do it, which is good. So should we just have a little listen at what's going on here for the moment being? So some fairly experimental, I guess you could call it. The whole idea is to fit really within the parameters of what's needed in the gallery. So it's not so much a performance as just a piece, just like the other artworks that are on display. So my aim with it is to be able to set it off with minimal interaction and kind of have it just generate, flow, build up, come down again, which is not the easiest thing to do in a musical way, to let the machines manage themselves. And I've also got to consider the fact that this is meant to be fun. So this is probably tonally a bit too menacing at the moment, definitely. So I'm going to try and make it happier, but also kind of blend between moods, because I think it's really interesting. Say you have to put yourself in the mind frame of the people who are going to be attending this exhibit. They're going to be primarily going around the gallery looking at different photos, and this is kind of like a background accompaniment to it. And it might not even be that in a kind of conscious way, but music floats into your subconscious and influences your senses and what you're seeing and how you interpret stuff. So, I feel a bit of a responsibility actually to do this well, because the music, is gonna be kind of in the best way supporting but potentially tainting the work of all these amazing artists. So I feel a bit of responsibility. I did ask do you want this on headphones or do you want this on speakers, and it was we want this on speakers, so pressure's on. So my idea is to have all the sounds visually generated, because this is a visual arts exhibit. So the main I was asked to have the main center of the setup be this the slide scanner, which makes a lot of sense, and hopefully I can work out a way for that to be interactive, so people can put slides in and out, and you can hear when it doesn't have a slide in it, it doesn't make any noise. And you put a slide in. Yeah, and we've got the Eventide space pedal down here, which is doing some crazy black holey reverb, which just makes everything sound a lot better. I mean, if I put it in and take the reverb off, I think even now it's got tape delay on it, so. And I'm kind of undecided. My envelope generator has a very short attack. It's not an attack delay. It's just a delay. It's just so very simple. And I might need to modify that just to get rid of those clicks. But actually kind of works quite well in a way, especially when you put the reverb on. It sounds kind of percussive. And on the sequencer at the moment, it's just doing random selection of all of these notes here, and it's currently set to chromatic mode, so it's not really in a scale, but I can, if this switch works, which has been really dodgy on the membrane switch at the moment, this is kind of broken, but you can switch it so that it's in a major or minor scale, so it's a bit more controllable tonally. But what I would really like to have is that it shifts mood and tonally, so that can be achieved by having an underlying bass note that then changes, if you like, the context of the melody note, loosely a melody. I'm going to experiment with different ways of generating this. We've got a Turing machine, but then I'll need a quantizer. I've got a kind of quantizer that I made, but it's a bit dodgy. So I'll figure out ways of doing this. And another thing that I've got a list really of things that I'm trying to achieve with this, and one thing is that it's going to be a small and simple setup. So really, I would like it to just be one lunchbox case full of modular gear. And then I did say that I would like all of the voices to be generated visually, so we have the slide scanner and the ceramics machine, but the ceramics machine itself is bulky, so I could get away with just doing the VCO, which might actually be simpler and make this more the centerpiece, which is probably the way I'm going to go actually. But this is all things I'm working through, and that's a toss up between the size of the setup and the kind of conceptual ideas. And so we turn the reverb back on now, and immediately it sounds much more interesting. You can hear now the little clicks and things in there, but not necessarily bad. And then I've layered up a tape echo on that as well. Just fatten things up a bit, especially this. We run a bit of this for it. So the Uniselector sequencer is sequencing a VCO that I've got in the rack over here, which is doing more like the bass notes. And it's running through this Music Thing modular drive and overdrive, and a bandpass filter as well. And it's all going through the reverb and the delay. Sounds pretty cool. And the way I've got this moving, clocking, changing the notes on the Uniselector sequencer is through another music thing modular module. It's the move module. So that has a movement sensor in it, and that switches a relay, and every time the relay switches on, it progresses the Uniselector sequencer one step. So the theme of the exhibit is symbiosis. So that's, how different organisms and things interact with each other, whether that can be, cooperatively or parasitically. And so, I'd kind of like to mirror that in the setup, if I can. It doesn't have to be in a way that's obvious, but I think it would be nice to have it in there. I don't have to write a blurb or anything about it, but it would be nice to have that also built into the music. So we have the movement of this dependent on people moving around the gallery and moving past the music exhibit. It actually trips it when people move past, which is pretty cool. So the music is influenced by the people in the gallery. And my idea with this is that all of the different notes, it moves in and out through different tonalities and modes and colours the melody, so that you have shifting moods. And I haven't really achieved that very well here, but I think it would be quite interesting, in the context of looking at an artwork, and then the mood of the music shifts behind you and maybe influences your interpretation of the artwork differently as you're standing at it. I don't know, kind of interesting. I once did a favour for a mate for his university project. He had to do like a spoken word thing, so I did a spoken word for him, and there was other people doing their university projects in the same hall, somebody doing like a play next to me, and I just like how you interact with musicians in a band, like a drummer and a bass player. I found myself kind of playing off the timings of their play that I could overhear as I was doing my spoken word thing. Completely disconnected performances, but they were in the same space and I could hear them, and I was 100% using the exact same sense that you use when you're improvising, jamming in a band, to play off against them. I was filling in the gaps and things, and it was influencing my timing and intonation, which I found bonkers. I did not expect that at all, but it just happened. And so I definitely think different artworks in the same space can influence each other, even if they're completely different mediums and not even intended to work together. So interesting things to explore here. So I hope you enjoyed that little look into this little patch and some ideas that I'm working through at the moment and the direction that I'm kind of going in. And there's going to be a lot more of these music-based things, which is really cool. And using my little recorder for this is just a mono recording at the moment. Hopefully, might get some more advanced equipment where I can do some, panning at least, because I've got to record the microphone and this, and the recorder only has 2 inputs. But yeah, quite cool. So I will see you in future.